What's up, guys? This is Chris Sarai bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of your vehicles. Merry Christmas and thank you for tuning in. On today's show, we're going to give you a little gift, and the gift is that we're going to pretty much do really what this show is meant for. Instead of what we standardly do is talk about the automotive industry in the political arena and all the bad stuff about layoffs and all that kind of thing. We need to really, going into this new year, we're going to really concentrate on being more beneficial to you guys and letting you guys talk about, cars that you should buy, mistakes that you shouldn't make when you're buying cars, and stuff like that. Do more of what the show is really intended for, and that is to help you buy, maintain, and repair all of your vehicles. Okay, so on today's Christmas show, we're going to talk about 7 car buying mistakes that people make. We're going to go over this article and see what the mistakes are, give our review. We're going to also talk about the best used cars and SUVs under $10,000 because, of course, coming into the new year, definitely people are going to need vehicles, and we're going to talk about some that are under $10,000, which, should be okay to drive. And last but not least, we're going to, as we end the year, we're going to talk about the biggest automotive scandals that have happened over this past year. Not of all of them are automotive related, but we're going to go over their list and see what we think. Okay? All right, so let's jump right on in. So first off, we're going to check out Charles Schwab's 7 car buying mistakes that could cost you. Okay? All right, so of course it's going to be on the Charles Schwab website, and it's under financial planning. This is from a while ago. 7 car buying mistakes could cost you. Okay, buying on emotion is just one potential car buying pitfall, which is so very true. Here are 7 other common mistakes and what you can do to avoid them. Okay, so we're just gonna go to this place and get all this fluff. Mistake number 1: not considering your budget and savings plan. Don't be misled by recent news about the price of cars coming down. Buying a car today, whether new or used, is a big financial investment that takes planning. According to online car shopping guide Edmunds, the average price for a new car in the first quarter of 2024 was $46,992, and the average price for a used car was $27,113. If you jump into the luxury market, you're looking at nearly $61,000 for a new car, according to Kelley Blue Book. While these numbers may be down from post-pandemic highs, it's still a lot of money. So here are 2 important questions. Have you saved, or do you have a plan to save for a down payment? And what can you afford in a monthly payment? Sure, just for context, a 6-month loan at 7.4% on a $40,000 vehicle with $2,500 down is almost $800 a month. Don't let your desire for a high-priced car send your budget into a tailspin. Okay, this is absolutely, unequivocally so true. First thing that I always say when I talk to people or help them buy cars is that you have to do the research. And I always have them do if possible, unless they're in some super emergency, you have to have a car right then and there. I always have them do like a week of research on what kind of car you need, want, and can afford. These are the most important factors. If you do the research and you get online and you look up cars and you look at the prices of cars and all these things, it's going to set in your mind the idea of, what you can afford, and it's going to put away the idea of you spending excessive amounts of money on cars and not getting something that you like, because you have to like the car. No matter how much a car costs, you're going to be driving this car for whoever knows how long, depending on how rich you are. So, it's going to be a situation where you definitely have to like the car. So you have to get a car you like, and of course, get a car that you can afford. I've seen, and I've been in the automotive industry pretty much my whole life, and I've seen car notes upwards of $2,500 a month. That is outrageous. I mean, I personally have gone in this automotive industry, and as it goes from car sales, I've went to from situations where I've seen cars cost $120 a month, upwards of $2,500 a month. These cars prices are excessive. The fees and taxes that you pay for these cars is excessive. So that's why I have my online car shopping network, and that's why I try to help people buy cars, because it's I always say this: cars are the second most expensive item that you pretty much in your life going to purchase, other than your home. So, and it's an important purchase. It needs to last long. It needs to be very reliable. So that's why I do a lot of research and take a lot of time when I help people buy cars, because it's extremely important to buy the right thing for you and for your budget. It's just it will set you so far back if you purchase a car that you not don't like, and then a car that breaks down all the time. It's just a hassle, new or used, because you always talk about how you don't want to buy a car the year it came out, because it's going to be at the dealership more than you want, So let's keep going. Mistake number 2: overspending on a car at the expense of other goals. Good money management starts with prioritizing your goals. Where does the car fit into yours? Will buying the car you have your heart set on keep you from saving for another, maybe more important goal? It's a balancing act. On the one hand, you know a car is a bad investment because it's a depreciating asset. On the other, many people feel a car represents our personal brand. It's part of our identity, and we get attached to it. That's why we might spend on a car rather than putting the money towards something else. Consider what type of car will represent your personal image without putting you in a financial bind. Here's something to think about. 61% of people who earn more than $250,000 a year are more likely to be driving a Honda, Ford, and Toyota, according to Experian Automotive Study. Bottom line: don't spend money to look wealthy, save money to be wealthy. Of course, fantastic quote, fantastic statement there. And it's a major problem. We were just talking about it. People with these extremely high car notes, because the car note says that you can afford the car, but your lifestyle says you cannot. And you spending extremely way too much money into your car that should be going to your kids, into your home, into all these other things into your life. And the crazy thing about the whole personal brand thing is that who's caring about your personal image when it comes to your vehicle, and who's seeing it? I mean, most of these people are living online, or visual to that extent. It's not about your car. Now, mind you, if you're a real estate agent like I am, or somebody who has to be extremely visual like that when it comes to cars and things of that nature, maybe spend a couple of dollars to get a nicer car, but you still make sure that it's in your price range. Still make sure it's a good financial fit for you, the vehicle. Once you start getting money and you desire to be more flashy and you want to get a better car, fantastic. But it's not in your financial realm. Don't overspend, because it's just going to hurt you in the long run. All right, let's see. Mistake number 3: not doing your financing homework. Knowing your financing options before you talk to a dealer. Comparisons: shop at banks, finance companies, and credit unions. Ask about interest rates, loan terms, and financing charges. Explore how a larger down payment or a shorter loan term might bring down financing costs. With this information in hand, explore dealer financing. Some dealerships may offer special rates and terms on certain vehicles, but you won't know if it's a good deal if you haven't researched what other lenders are offering. In fact, don't settle on one dealer. Excuse me. Comparison shop here too. For the best financing rates and terms, as well as car prices, will help you avoid the next mistake. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's pretty much what I do for my customers is take care of that to some degree. Finding, because that's what makes my online car shopping network better. Which I got to get the website back up. It's down right now, so it's only by call. You got to call me, but that's what makes my online car shopping network better, is because we shop for the car that you decide that you want throughout the dealer network. We don't, stick to one dealership. We're online. We did work with all dealerships all across the country. So, we make sure that you not only get the best car with the best terms, we help you get the best financing. We do that shopping point as well. So, it's all about the research. It's always going to be all about the research. If you are in the market for pretty much anything, cars, homes, anything, you should have to do the research. You have to do the reading. You can hire people and rely on them to some degree, but the research, your own good research is always better. To have the knowledge in your own head, it's just always better. So yeah, great, statement of mistake. You definitely want to do as much research. You definitely want to look around. You just want to call me to get you a car. That's what that is. Mistake number 4, focusing only on the monthly payment. Pay attention. This is an important one. Let's say you're at the dealer, negotiating a price, talking about the monthly payment. If you're asked what can you afford to pay each month, stop right there. Because when you negotiate, you want to look at the total cost of the car. The monthly payment is important, but focusing on that alone can distract you from negotiating down. A dealer knows this. You may get to the monthly number you want, but end up paying more for the car over time. Instead, find out what the dealer paid for the vehicle, not the sticker price, and start from there. Then discuss financing options. Remember too that there are taxes and title fees. Ideally, you want to pay cash for those and not wrap them into your finances. That will save you on interest and lower your payment. Fantastic point. That's why, when we do this, we try to make sure that, there's very little, title fees and taxes and all those extra fees, because we try to, if at all possible, buy the car cash and then set you up through financing. Just pay us back if we can. Some cases we finance through the dealership. It just depends what's going to be overall better for both parties. But this is so true, because you will be sitting there and you'll get a fantastic monthly payment of $250, but end up having a loan agreement of 72 months. Whereas you could have did it in 36 months. This is great stuff. You definitely want to find out how much the dealership paid for the car, the used car lot or whatever it is, paid for the vehicle, see how much they try to upsell you. Find out what the Kelley Blue Book is, so you really know what Kelley Blue Book is saying the value of the vehicle is, and use all these factors in your negotiation for the car. Or call me. Okay, number 5, not considering a used car. We all like the look and smell of a new car, but remember, a new car could lose up to 20% of its value in your first year of ownership. Buying used might get you a better car or more the car for the money. My best car purchase was a 3-year-old 2008 Infiniti G35 with 29,000 miles on it. I drove that car for 7 years and never had any major problems. It looked good and I got a lot of compliments on it. But more importantly, I did my research and knew it was reliable. There are a lot of used car options: inform a lease or loaner car, a certified pre-owned car, a 1-year-old car with low mileage. Any of these could be a good move. But like I did with my Infiniti and not the Porsche, do your research before you buy. Okay, fantastic point. Just goes back to what I was saying about not buying a car the first year it comes out. Used cars are fantastic. Just want to make sure you do the research on the car as best you can. I don't know if I've told this story. I think I've told the story. My first, when I was in college, I went to buy a brand new car. It was a Chevy Blazer. Can't even remember the year, but it was the year it came out. The car had just came out, and I purchased it and signed all the paperwork, and I was going to finance and all this fancy stuff. And then I drove it off took it home. Next morning, I was driving my friend to work. He worked at McDonald's, and it was raining a little bit. So we come to a stop. Car slid on me. Brand new car slid. Almost hit the car that was crossing on the other side. So dropped him off at McDonald's. Straight to the dealership. Gave him back that car. Took my loan back. Went around the corner. What I buy? Went around the corner and I bought the Lincoln Continental. I bought a used Lincoln Continental do some hydraulics on that bitch, do some 15s in that puppy, and we was rolling. So it's all about who you are. Um, I've that was the only situation where if I've ever went to finance a car. All my cars since then I've bought with cash because I don't like financing. I don't like taxes. I don't like fees. I like to make sure that everything is paid for. I just don't. I don't like the responsibility or have the desire to be paying somebody money, every month for something I can pay for cash. So it's just one of those things. All right, number 6, ignoring insurance and maintenance costs. Auto insurance, like everything else these days, is going up. In fact, auto insurance premiums increased over 20% from 23 to 24. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, rates vary by state and by car type. So again, your research before you buy. And don't forget maintenance. Consumer Affairs estimates that maintenance and repairs is averaged around $900 a year. That too varies by car make and model. The annual average to maintain in Acura is around 680, while an Audi might get you set back over 1,300 a year. With these costs in mind, you definitely want to avoid the next mistake. Okay, so yeah, I mean, one of the things that we do for our people are we try to, when you purchase a car with us, we try to find a place for you to get your maintenance done, whether it be a dealership or a small location. We check, the pricing, we check their ratings and all these type of things, in that area to make sure that you're taking your vehicle to the right place to get it maintained. And it is extremely important, specifically for a lot of these newer cars, that you do these maintenances, because these newer cars the fact is that the way they're designed, it is paramount on the maintenance. There are certain things in these cars, if they're not lubed a certain way, or they don't have a certain fluid changed out because this fluid breaks down over the course of several months, that if these aren't changed, that they're going to cause major problems for these vehicles. And they know this. It's not that they don't know this, but that's why they have these strict maintenance schedules, and they you have to maintain these strict maintenance schedules. And on top of that, the kicker is that your warranty is based off of these maintenance schedules. So if you decide to not keep the maintenance schedules or try to skip certain maintenances, it can void your warranty. And they can, your engine crack down or something down the road, and you ain't been doing your maintenances, you shit out of luck. You shit out of luck. I mean, it's just, I've seen it happen several times where, people come in and, their engine has seized up, and they'll be like, hey, you got any oil change records over the last couple months? Nope. We can't help you because you ain't been keeping the maintenance up. It happens a lot. All right, so mistake number 7, not planning how you'll cover repairs. Good to know. You may be okay handling routine maintenance, but what about a major repair? Some cars today have a 4-year or 50,000 mile warranty, but if you plan to keep the car long term, or if you buy used, you might consider purchasing an extended warranty. Having an emergency fund is always something I recommend, but I like to keep that for other major emergencies and cover car costs separately however you do it. Make sure that when you have a car problem, you're not stuck on the side of the road. Yes, I was a big fan of CarShield. I did a story about them defrauding people, but I am a big fan of extended warranties like CarShield and stuff like that if you can find a really good one. We still are investigating on the best ones available now, specifically after the whole CarShield debacle. They're a good one is kind of hard to come by these days. Because you have to find one that's going to pay correctly, that's going to pay timely, and really going to help you get your car done. It's a lot out there. Definitely want to get an extended warranty if a used car, specifically if it has a certain amount of miles, anything over 50,000 miles. I'd say that you want to get extended warranty, or you can buy a car that has already has extended warranties with him. I was a big fan of Hyundai and Kia because of their warranty. They had like a 5-year, 60,000 mile basic warranty, and like a 10-year, 150,000 mile powertrain warranty that was really big. back when I was working with them, and it's paramount because you just don't know how these cars break. These cars are built with some very soft parts nowadays. Let's face it. These vehicles nowadays that have plastic radiator supports, and that still blows my mind. So, all right. One last piece of advice from my father: if you're going to trade in a car as part of your purchase, know its value before you make a deal. Here's where Kelly Blue Book as your friend and can give you a starting point for negotiating. It's a lot to think about, and like me, you've probably made some of these mistakes, but live and learn. Knowing how to get a good deal on your next car can make driving it even more fun. All right, great story, great line. Yeah, I mean, it's hard buying cars these days. Specifically with everything that's going on with insurance and pricing and availability. It's hard to make the correct decision, but it's always about research. You always have to check every corner, every crevice, make sure you know exactly what you want and what you need and what you can afford. All right, so let's keep it going. Up next, we're going to go into a story about the best used cars and SUVs you can buy for $10,000 or less. And this is by, according to Consumer Reports. Let's check this out real quick. Alright, so it's on the Yahoo page. The best used cars and SUVs you can buy for $10,000 or less, according to Consumer Reports. The average new car transaction price these days is nearly $50,000, which isn't great when you consider the median income in the country is about the same. So if you need to replace your current car but can't afford something new, you definitely aren't alone. Decades of wage stagnation have put Americans in a tough spot, and not just when it comes to being able to afford a new car. It's so true. The good news is used cars are far more reliable than they used to be, and you can still get a quality used car for less than $10,000. You may not be able to find all the modern bells and whistles with a sub $10,000 budget, but you shouldn't have a problem getting one that's reliable, fuel efficient, and pretty darn comfortable. To help you in your search for an affordable car that's new to you, our friends at Consumer Reports recently combed through its test results and real-time pricing data to come up with a list of some of the best used cars that you should be able to find for less than $10,000. Of course, pricing is going to vary based on where you are and what's available, but if you don't have a lot to spend, the cars on the list make a great starting point. Alright, Ford C-Max 2015-2016. When you think about used hybrids, you tend to default to the Toyota Prius, but the Ford also made a Prius competitor for a while, and the C-Max lack of name recognition could work in your favor. It isn't quite as spacious, nor does it match the Prius fuel economy, but it's also quieter, more fun to drive, and easy to get in and out of. Alright, Ford C-Max is cool. I had a girlfriend of mine had one of those. It was cool. I drove in it, felt comfortable. Prius is always going to be in a higher standard for me in this category. I just purchased a Prius for my little girl, but yeah, because Prius got cornered the hybrid market. Let's face it, man. Let's keep going. Honda Fit 2011 to 2013. The Honda Fit has become a cult favorite for its fuel efficiency and ridiculous practicality that bellies its small size. It may not be the car you want to take on long road trips, but as a daily driver, especially if you live in a crowded city, it can be tough to beat. You may also be surprised by how much stuff you can fit inside thanks to its flexible seating arrangement. Not a big fan of Honda Fits. They super duper small. They crumble in an accident. I would never put any of my folks in one because as a person who runs a collision center, nah, man. Every Honda Fit that has, except for one, every Honda Fit that's coming to my shop to get repaired has totaled, meaning that whatever the cost of the damage was more than the value of the car. Honda Insight 2010. The Honda Insight has taken on quite a few forms since Honda Fit first introduced it as a small two-door hatchback. When it returned for 2010 model year, it looked like a much more conventional hybrid but couldn't quite match the Prius' fuel economy or refinement. That means you should be able to get a second generation Insight for relatively little money. Insights is cool. I've seen a couple on the road, fixed one or two here and there. Um, you know, Honda puts out a good product, so Honda. It sounds like it's okay. Mazda 3, 2013, 2015. While other compact cars are more popular, the Mazda 3 is actually fun to drive, which definitely gives it a leg up in our book. Whether you go for the sedan or the hatchback, you'll get an attractive, sporty, reliable, fuel-efficient car that will probably leave you wondering why the Corolla isn't just as good. Yeah, those Mazda 3s are pretty awesome. They're really nice cars, nice interiors, nice to drive. Had several in to have repairs done. They hold their value really well. Fairly easy to repair and get back on the road. So awesome car. Toyota Corolla 2011 to 2014. The Toyota Corolla is the default choice for a lot of buyers who simply want a car that works, gets a decent gas mileage, and won't break. It doesn't offer a whole lot more than that, but it's enough to keep used Corollas in demand, and as a result, used Corollas come at a bit of a premium compared to some of the competition. Still, that's just the price you pay for a peace of mind. Was yesterday? Yesterday, I found out that Toyota Corolla was the most purchased vehicle in America. I was having an argument with my parts manager. Not an argument, but we was talking about it. My parts manager, and he originally said that the Volkswagen Beetle was the most sold vehicle in the world, and I scoffed at that. You know what I mean? And he was like, no, and he looked it up, and no, it's the Toyota Corolla. Toyota Corolla is the most sold vehicle in the world to this day. I think there was, I think the Honda Fit might have been on there too. It was the Toyota Corolla, I know. So the Toyota Corolla, I know. The Volkswagen Beetle was on there, and then there was a couple other cars on there, but this Toyota Corolla, and I know why. I had a Toyota Corolla back in the days, back in my college days. Put a nice, yeah, I had a Toyota Corolla back in the days. Put some beat in it. Real nice, love that little car. It got me around real nice. After some bad time, got a lot of friends that have Toyota. Actually, now I think about it, I still have a Toyota Corolla. But it's like a 1996 Toyota Corolla that I need to throw some wheel bearings on and get rid of. But I mean, it's one of those cars that pretty much everybody around had, or somebody around had. And they're always available. I've always got a Corolla at my shop getting repaired. So yeah, just this car being the most sold car in America and being one of the most affordable cars in America kind of makes sense. Alright, so Toyota's Prius C 2012 to 2014. Do you want all the benefits of Toyota Prius hybrid powertrain but don't want to pay full price? Well, that's where the Prius C comes in. It's smaller and doesn't match the regular Prius level of refinement, which already wasn't particularly impressive, but it does get great gas mileage and should be easy to work. Yeah, it ain't this one. I got her one of the station wagon ones. I think it's a C, but I can't remember. But Priuses are, and I noticed because one of my first dealership jobs, of course, was with Toyota. So I had a lot of experience with the hybrids and the Priuses and all that type of junk. And the Prius is just that car. I remember for the longest time, we were always trying to make fun of people who had Priuses, act like they was fruity and whatnot. But Priuses are just great cars, and I realized that ultimately back in the day when one of my toughest country technicians, he drove, just hillbilly guy you think had the big F-150 with the diesel, and he drove a Prius, and he loved that thing to death, and soupy, and it was great, and I drove it for a little while. The Priuses are great cars, man. They get around nicely. And they're gonna be really tough to beat. They really too tough to beat when it comes to hybrids, and they just a good seller. So, all right, let's see what else they got. Now they said Prius 2011, 2013. Telling you, look, all the last ones is Priuses. Toyota redesigned the Prius for 2010, keeping impressive gas mileage and adding more safety and comfort features to keep owners happier when the thrill of not buying as much gas wore off. It is exciting, but this generation of Prius still is reliable, fuel efficient, and practical. All right, here it is. See, this is the one I bought. Alicia got. Okay, Toyota Prius V 2013 station wagon. By the same time that we got the Prius C, Toyota also gave us the Prius V, a slightly larger version of the Prius. It's kind of ugly and it's great to drive, but it's still got that Prius DNA, so you don't have to worry about it breaking or getting bad gas mileage. Plus, if the regular Prius is too small for you, the extra room inside doesn't hurt either. That's messed up. Yeah, we got one of these in the family. She loves it, so I don't care. I don't drive it, so. Buick LaCrosse, I had one of these. Nice car. 2014. You might not expect to see an American sedan on this list, but the Buick LaCrosse is also probably a better car than you might remember. It's proven fairly reliable, comes with a pretty darn nice interior. Considering the price you'll pay, it can even be found with a mild hybrid setup if you go for the 4-cylinder version. 2014 version also gets a few updates to make it even nicer. And Honda Accord 2012. If you're in the market for a comfortable, spacious, fuel-efficient sedan, it happens to be more fun to drive than you might expect. This version of Honda Accord is probably the one you want. The 4-cylinder engine gets the best gas mileage, but the V6 is the best performance standout while still offering solid fuel economy. Seriously, the V6 Accord is probably quicker than you remember. And I love Honda Accords as well. I have a lot of friends that have Hondas. They are big sellers. They have that feature in the side mirrors that I love. You know, when you're turning left or right, then that camera cuts on. You see it in the middle screen. You see what's coming on that side. I like that. It's a fantastic feature. I'm surprised it's not in more vehicles. And we're gonna end with the Mazda 6 2015. They're gonna go to super list. While we're big fans of Honda Accord, the Mazda 6 is both more fun to drive and also better looking. If you're considering a mid-size sedan, you'll definitely want to give the Mazda 6 a test drive. It is a little loud on the highway, and a knob-controlled infotainment system may take some getting used to, but its nice interior and sporty character will still win over many people willing to venture outside the default Hondas and Toyotas. I'm telling you, Mazdas are great cars, but I agree with what they're saying. It's one of those setups like BMWs that don't like the infotainment thing with the buttons. I don't like that either. It's they trying to be futuristic, but they just made it harder to do. And let's see, Subaru Legacy 2015. Okay, Subaru has built a reputation selling all-wheel drive cars that are perfectly suited for a little outdoor adventure. But the Legacy is also a fantastic on-road performer for 2015. You get a nice interior and improved suspension that Consumer Reports says borders on luxury car territory. It also handles well and offers great visibility to go with impressive reliability and spacious interior. All right, yeah, Subaru is not a cheap vehicle, so I don't know how they're gonna throw this in there. I highly doubt you can get, if you can get a 2015 Subaru Legacy for less than $10,000. That's gonna be really pretty impressive. Subarus are fantastic cars. That Legacy is a fantastic car. It has great reliability. Never been a big fan of Subaru because their all-wheel drive system for me, I think is problematic to the point where it could be messed up just by having the wrong size tires on the car. But still a great car, so definitely something that if you have $10,000, you might want to think about purchasing. All right, so that was a nice rundown of cars that you could probably get for less than $10,000, depending on where you live. It's gonna be different probably here in California that is in Indiana, but it gives you an idea of if you are in a financial crunch and in a situation where you are dead needing a vehicle. These are a couple ones that you could look at that you might be able to get into and still survive. All right, so last but not least, we're going to, as we start to wind down the end of the year, we're going to go into a couple of stories in the automotive industry as the end of the year stories. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go and check out Yahoo as they talk about the biggest automotive scandals of 2024. Now, this is a long list. We're probably not going to go through everything because not all of it's automotive related, but we're going to go through this list and see what they say are the biggest automotive scandals of 2024. Okay. All right. Jalopnik, Jalopnik, and this is from Owen Bellwood. These are the biggest automotive scandals of 2024. So let's check it out. What a year we've had in 2024. There was good news like Lando Norris finally getting his first win in Formula One. Don't care. Bad news like the demise of the Mitsubishi Mirage, and unsurprising news such as the end of another year without self-driving Teslas ruling the road. We haven't reached the end of 2024 without our fair share of drama and scandal. However, to make sure that you haven't missed any of the juiciest news of the past year, we thought it was time to round up some of the biggest automotive scandals of 2024. Whether it was allegations of corruption, charges of cheating on emission tests, or the ridiculous dealer markups that are now commonplace, there have been some pretty big scandals over the course of 2024. Flick through the following slides to uncover some of the biggest scandals of the year. If you think there's a story you missed, then let us know in the comments below. Corruption claims hit Singapore Grand Prix. We don't care nothing about that. We ain't checking nothing about that. BMW gets its own Dieselgate scandal. Ooh, let's check it out. After Volkswagen was embroiled in an enormous scandal relating to emission testing of its diesel engines, BMW must have felt left out as it got itself into a pickle over emissions this year too. Germany Motor Transport Authority KBA started proceedings against BMW over suspicions that the automaker could have manipulated emissions results for its diesel-powered X3. The case concerned the use of a defeat device in the control unit of the 2.0-liter diesel engine in the SUV. Under testing, it was alleged that the X3 emitted less nitrogen oxide when, among other things, the air conditioning is switched off during lab testing. Air conditioners usually stay off, and people familiar with the process report that this could be seen as a defeat device, which is not allowed. Yeah, so big story about the defeat devices that they had in the Volkswagen vehicles, the big scandal that it was, the big recall that they were paying their customers pretty much straight cash because of this, and it's still going on. They have removed the defeat devices. They did some calibrations to the systems so they read differently, but even that didn't fix the problem completely. So it's just going to keep this scandal going because they're going to continue to put some type of defeat device in these vehicles, because if they don't meet standard. And that's going to be another thing that we're going to have to watch for in the coming years, that when, you know, all of the emission standards come out, and if there's a large percentage of Volkswagen vehicles particularly, and then I guess some BMW vehicles that have defeat devices in them. So if the defeat devices are removed, then these vehicles are not going to meet emission standards, and they're not supposed to be on the road. So then what you going to do? All right. Now, nobody caring about the Red Bull. Toyota wants in on the emission scandal. Check this out. One emission scandal wasn't enough for 2024. We had to have another. This time, instead of being a historic German automaker behind the allegations, it was Toyota's turn to face a whole host of penalties over cheating on emissions tests. Excuse me. In February, Toyota Industries was found to have engaged in misconduct, which included tampering with test data for certain engines. Bottles caught up in the scandal include cars fitted with Toyota Industries K1D diesel engines, which can be found in Toyota's third and fourth generation Land Cruiser SUVs. This is that Land Cruiser thing. I was reading up on this. SUVs and high H vans. The allegations also hit the company's industrial motors such as the IZS and 4Y motors that are used to power forklifts. Yeah, this is, I read about this story. This is more about just, it's only on the FJ Cruiser. So whatever it is that they did on the diesel engine on these FJ Cruisers is a big problem, and they just have to, and it's only that one particular model vehicle, because I had one into my store not too long ago, and of course when they come into a collision center, of course we're alerted if there's recalls, because you know they don't want you changing out parts or repairing things that have recalls on them in these vehicles. So, and it came up and I had to read up on it. I'm like, oh, I didn't know nothing about that. That's crazy. So yeah, I guess Toyota's getting onto the emission stuff as it is too. All right. Keyless entry makes car thefts easier. We already knew that, dummies. Keyless entry is pretty great, making opening your car when your hands are full of stuff a breeze. But a dark side of cutting-edge tech was unearthed this year. The technology was linked to increased rates of car thefts, and to make matters worse, it sounds like automakers were warned that this could happen. We warned them expeditiously. Experts reportedly warned auto industry execs about the risk of smart keys more than a decade ago. According to a report published earlier this year, an investigation in keyless entry found that a piece of kit called an emulator could help would-be thieves walking away with your car in roughly 20 seconds. While the industry has been accused of ignorance over the issue, trade bodies responded by arguing that the sector was locked in an arms race with car thieves. So true. When I was working at a Chrysler Dodge Jeep dealership, I picked up an emulator because we were doing a recall on Jeep Cherokees where it was the systems were allowing people to access the Jeep Cherokees with computers and attempt to drive them. That's what the recall is for. So we had to do these updates and I don't know how I got the emulator. The guy came by, he was telling me about how it worked and he left it there and gave it to me. So, and it showed me that this emulator that I have showed me that you could literally in seconds copy a remote key and in seconds and then use the emulator to open and start the vehicle. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to have and we knew about it a long time ago. That was forever ago. And we talked about it at the dealership. There was some reports made and whatnot, sandwiches, but they've been on that. They've been on that. Markups are getting out of hand. Jalopnik doesn't have a word of the year award, but if it did, then 2024's winner would probably be markup. We've covered so many ridiculously high dealer markups over the course of 24, reporting on everything from limited run muscle cars to regular daily drivers. The trend for sky-high dealership markups kicked off in the pandemic and shows no sign of stopping, and worse still, they're putting people in bad financial situations, and data shows more Americans are now underwater on their car loans. This kind of greedy behavior is unlikely to go punished anytime soon, meaning that random dealer price hikes, markups, and ridiculous pricing will probably be a scandal that continues into the new year too. I understand what they're saying. I understand these markups are ridiculous. But then, of course, for me, it comes down to who's the dumbass buying this shit. I mean, you ain't got to buy it. If these motherfuckers, if they mark up the price on these cars on you, why would you buy them from them? It's all about, for me, personal responsibility. If somebody sits there and puts a car in your face and it's marked up a ridiculous amount, and if you've done even the slightest bit of research on that vehicle, you would know that it's marked up on some ridiculous amount. Why don't you just get your ass up and walk up out of there? Because we're talking, and I agree that it's messing these people's financial situations up and all that kind of stuff, but whose responsibility is that? You shouldn't be buying it if it has any inclination that it could mess up any of your financial situations. You shouldn't be there purchasing the car. That's just crazy to me. Let's keep going. All right. I was going to say that I don't think it's automotive and not talking about this, but we're going to talk about it. Boeing whistleblower found dead. The drama at Boeing this year could spawn its own slideshow after a door plug blew out of a plane. Quality control issues were uncovered, and the American company was even branded a felon. In March, things got even more sinister for the plane maker. However, after ex-Boeing quality manager John Burnett was found dead. Burnett was found shortly after he gave evidence in a case against the American plane maker in South Carolina. He had been embroiled in a legal battle against Boeing after he began calling out the company for safety and quality control practices. Burnett, who worked at the company for more than 30 years, previously highlighted issues with oxygen tanks on the 787 aircraft that meant 1 in 4 breathing masks may not function in an emergency situation. The 60-year-old accused Boeing of denigrating his character and hampering his career, a claim he took to court in South Carolina. However, Burnett was found dead in his truck shortly after being questioned by Boeing's lawyers in the case. Alright guys, we have to realize to some degree, and even more so in this new coming Trump era of presidency, that the Cold War is coming back. I know a lot of you people don't understand what I'm saying when I say that, and you don't understand what the Cold War was, but it's coming back. It's, assassinations, the whole cancel culture is part of the Cold War. It's the destruction of, or the removal of problems under the table. Cold War is that we're doing everything in the code and we're not coming out of the code to show you what's going on. That's pretty much, I think, pretty much what how we presented the Cold War statement as, is that, you know, do things in the code. People don't care what happens in the code. The code is outside and we're inside. We're not going to bring anything inside. We're going to keep it outside in the code so you don't know what's going on. That's what a Cold War is. And this is the beginning, not even the beginning. The Cold War has never gone away, but deaths, you know, assassinations, people not being held accountable for people dying, all these type of things. This is Cold War action, and it's just going to ramp up in the next couple years as Trump's presidency gets to reach higher, and you know he starts doing the whole tariff situations, and people are forced to do certain things that they wouldn't have done before to maintain their companies. So the Cold War is real. Hertz charges drive for gas they didn't put in their Tesla. All right, let's check this out. A $277 scandal was still a scandal, right? That's exactly the kind of drama that hit rental giant Hertz this year when it attempted to charge a customer for returning their rented EV with an empty gas tank. That's right, the renter of a Tesla Model 3 was charged a refueling fee when he returned the car to Hertz. Josh Lee was slapped with an unexpected $277.39 charge after selecting the skip the pump and save time option on his reservation, which meant that he wouldn't have to worry about any additional refueling fees if Hertz gave him a gas-powered car. Hertz didn't, though, and instead he spent some quality time in a Model 3 electric vehicle, but still charged a fee. In the end, some minor online bullying did let Hertz to reach out to Lee and apologize for the error. The company even went so far as to refund this erroneous charge. They better had. I mean, that's what I'm saying though. And the kicker is they wouldn't have said nothing if he didn't say nothing, and they would have just collected his money. And that's on the overall scheme of things in life, and as it is, you know, the one of the worst things that's going on is how people are continuously getting people like this. You know, charging them stuff that for, you know, stuff that didn't happen. You know, getting fees. You know, I got a random fee the other day from Uber. I don't even have the Uber account. You know, and if I didn't see it or catch it, you know, it would have kept going. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, we live in a world where people have the ability to charge you for stuff that you didn't, you know, pay for or desire, and if you don't catch it, then they just got your money. And that's one of the worst things that's happening with the advantation of debit cards and credit cards and all that kind of stuff. All right, Chicago police covered up 200,000 traffic stops covered up. Okay. The Chicago Police Department was found to have broken Illinois state law this year when it emerged that more than a third of traffic stops were not reported. Okay. In total, it was found that there were 200,000 undocumented traffic stops in 2023 after data was published over the summer. Records of traffic stops in Chicago found that CPD was seemingly using traffic stops as a substitute for stop and frisk. The findings suggest that the police in the city were continuing aggressive tactics through traffic stops, which saw black drivers get pulled over 7 times more than white drivers. Wow. The disparity in police stops was highlighted in data shared by Chicago police, which claimed traffic stops were down by around 74,000 between January through April. However, analysis of dispatch data found the drop was less than significant at around 59,000 fewer stops. Wow. Racism still exists in Chicago, man. That's crazy. I mean, Chicago is jacked up from head to toe anyway. We all know it. It's we just gotta feel bad for the people that live in Chicago and are dealing with Mayor Mohawk and all the other people who are making Chicago a bad place. And this is just you know, part of the overall horrible situation that Chicago's put themselves in. And if memory serves me correctly, I don't understand how they have all these traffic stops, but they're short of like 2,000 police officers, and then they took Shot Spotter away. They just messing up. They just making that place a horrible place. Parking meter scams swept America. If you're being scammed or swindled, does that count as a scandal? I reckon so. So a parking ticket scam that swept America definitely deserves a place on this list. In parking lots from New York to California, it was found that parking tickets were being used by scammers to empty out bank accounts of honest Americans. Man, fake tickets have cropped up on streets and parking lots across the U.S. and Canada, with the slips demanding fine payments from people whose cars they are placed on. Drivers who found these fake tickets stashed on their windshields were asked to destroy their tickets or contact local authorities to verify validity of parking tickets before paying up. The fraudulent slips look nearly identical to real tickets, except for a few small differences. Most commonly, the fake tickets took drivers to a suspicious website, which, in the case of fake tickets found in Calgary, was CalgaryParkPlus.com. The city's actual payment websites are CalgaryParking.com tickets, blah, blah, blah. Okay, one more. North Carolina shop sells thousands of cheap devices. Okay, let's show you some. Our final emissions scandal of the year didn't come from another automotive giant, but was instead the result of a plucky little workshop in North Carolina. Back in September, North Carolina shop was accused of conspiring to violate the Clean Air Act after it was found that Rudy's Performance Parts had installed and sold diesel emissions cheating devices. The shop's owner, Aaron Rudolph, pled guilty to the charges, slapped with a $2.4 million fine from the Department of Justice and EPA. According to the department, between 2014 and 2019, Rudolph manufactured and sold over 250,000 emissions cheating devices. Man, you just getting it. The devices had parts such as plates that block a vehicle exhaust gas recirculation system and pipes that replace pollution treatment components in vehicles' exhaust system. Man, I'm saying innovation. See, where was that cat when, we needed to help build these cars that we're getting all these parts from in China? Where was, why isn't he helping build EV batteries? Why isn't he helping to create those, emission parts for vehicles here in America? See, this is the problem. He's using his talents in the wrong way. He's using his talents for evil to some degree. But to one degree, it's good for the folks because they save, but on another degree, it's bad. And he could be using these talents for good. And that's the problem that I have with a lot of this stuff, is that, we will shop for this technology and these parts from China and Japan when we have people here in America that can create these things, can build these things, and put them in our automobiles to the point where we can stop importing all these things and get back to building America to be the great place that it was. All right, guys, I'm gonna let y'all get up out of here, man. Ooh, I did not mean for this show to be this long. Oh man. Well, Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking out the show. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. Turn me on to your friends. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing right. Help me to make the show a better thing. And have a Merry Christmas. And I'm out. Peace.